Right. Hello, good morning. So I've been playing around with CodeSpark, and I'm experimenting, I'm exploring. So I try to have when I build open source projects, I really always want them to be like very open and in the spirit of openness. But when it comes to coding agents, it's a little bit tricky because it requires a lot of work to. One thing is like at a high level, wire things together. But when it comes to the actual agentic processing that happens inside the harnesses, it's a lot of work to do that in an open way. 2 seconds. Hei, hvis ikke dere klarer å være venner, så trenger dere ikke å spille. Ja, men hvis dere bare erter hverandre, så trenger dere ikke å spille, ok? The kids were so happy playing a game together, and then they started teasing each other in the game. Isn't that classic? Anyways, yeah. So, but the problem is like creating an accessible experience. And to me, I'm a Claude Code user, and I'm trying to scratch my own itch. So I decided to like pivot the project towards just being an abstraction on top of Claude Code, so that you just instantly get going and you don't have to go and figure out like what provider you want, go and grab API keys. If I'm using like PyDev, you don't have web search, which is really important, stuff like that. So if we take a look at the README now, and this is where it originally started, before I discovered that Claude Code was just too slow to use inline in VS Code. But then I did some more research and I found a way to make it fast, or fast enough. It's not like the other inline agents in IDEs, but those are less capable as well. So the point is that it doesn't matter what you do, using Claude Code as a CLI outside the IDE, where you kind of give the agent full control, or you're using it for doing like research for yourself, or using it inline, it doesn't matter. It's just Claude Code. It's just in different modes, optimized for the specific behavior. So now it's Claude Code at the tip of your cursor, where I'm stating that Claude Code in the terminal is powerful, but the agent is in the driver's seat. And this has been the tension, right? I've been using Claude Code in the CLI, and I'm just meeting a lot of tension around me not owning the changes I make and having colleagues. Like, this is the thing, everybody that uses Claude Code at like an intense level, they don't work in a team. They work alone on a SaaS product or something like that. So when you go on YouTube, see people like sharing about like, oh, this is how I use Claude Code. They work alone. They don't actually work in a team where people have different relationships to how much, or have different ideas and perspectives on when to use agents, how to use agents, and things like that. So this is very much like scratching my own itch, where I want to use Claude Code, but I can't use it at the CLI level, where I completely lose ownership and decision making in the stuff it does. And another side effect is that I'm not building up my own context, right? I'm not learning anything about the code base or the changes I make when I use it at the CLI level. And that's fine for some things. But at least in the current state of the world and working in teams, you don't want to do that, is my opinion. So CodeSpark flips the dynamic. It brings Claude Code into your editor, where you are in control. You navigate, you decide what to change, you build understanding. The agent just handles the mechanics of it. So I'm still able to use natural language, but at a much more specific scope. And the whole experience is designed around you actually building your own context of what you're doing. So CodeSpark is a first-class Claude Code experience inside VS Code. It runs a Claude Code CLI under the hood, giving you the same models, tools, and Claude MD context, but scope to what you're looking at. 2 agents, 1 workflow, a fast inline agent for editing code at your cursor, and a research agent for deep code-based exploration and web search. So as I just explained, when you hand everything to an agent, you don't just lose control, you lose context. The agent builds its understanding of the code base, but you don't build yours. Every file you navigate to, every change you reason about, every decision you make strengthens your own mental model. That's not overhead. It's how you stay effective. CodeSpark keeps you in those low-level practical practical interactions where learning happens, while removing the mechanical friction that slows you down. At least that's the goal. So what you do now is that you need Claude Code CLI installed on your computer, and you need to be signed in. And this is like, I guess, to some extent, like a gray area, because Anthropic has closed down like using their subscription for other products, right? So you can't build like a service that uses Claude Code and people can like sign in with their own like subscription. But if you do what we do here, which is like you're still using Claude Code CLI, you're still using it as it was intended to be used, only you have a different interface for providing input to it, right? It's kind of like how Pencil Dev, if you heard about that, which is a really cool project, it also just connects to Claude Code, right? So you don't need like an API key to use that, as far as I know. Well, we can check that. No, not PyDev, Pencil Dev. Docs, installation, authentication. Yeah, exactly. So you just sign in with Claude, right? It's the same thing. It isn't a product, right? It's just a different, it's still literally running Claude CLI with its intended purpose. It's just a different integration in the IDE than what Anthropic delivers. So in my opinion, we are perfectly in the clear. And that's the nice thing, is that it's super accessible. If you have Claude Code installed, you just install the extension and it just works. So the inline agent is powered by Claude Code running Haiku, optimized for speed. It works from your cursor, editing the file you're looking at. Most edits are fast single-turn file scope changes. When the task demands it, the agent reads and writes additional files and goes as wide as it needs. But it always stays within the code, never running commands or reaching outside the project. So from a context perspective, it's the current file and cursor position. Then it presets the closest Claude MD file up the hierarchy. And then any files that's linked within any of these Claude Code files within the workspace is also put into context as like preset read tools. And then any directories in these Claude MD files are like expanded. So immediately you have the context of what files are in those folders. And then if you've done some research, that's also put into the context. And all of this is like deterministically retrieved as you prompt with the inline agent. And then the research agent is also powered by Claude Code, and that's a dedicated research tool. It can read files, grep through your code base, search the web, and fetch documentation, but it cannot like edit anything. When the research panel is already open, invoking it again attaches the current file and cursor position as context. So I can show you how that works. The output is integrated with VS Code. File paths like whatever become clickable links. And so that the output of the research agent is there to help you avoid doing the mechanical thing, which is basically like typing every character, but you still have to interact, right? It won't install anything for you, but it's going to give you a button to click to do the installation. And this might sound like a not very important thing, but it actually is. Like, this is how humans learn. We don't learn by reading, we learn by doing. But that doing doesn't have to be much. It's just how our brain is wired to use multiple sensory inputs to strengthen something, right? So if you only read, only use your eyes, that does like trigger learning in your brain. But if that is combined by touching something and like hearing something and like using your other senses, that just strengthens the learning. So I think this is a huge problem if you only use Claude Code CLI. Just talking about what context do you build, it's a very fragile context you build, because you only read sparse information about what Claude did. At least I do. Yeah. Anyways, so the two agents are connected. Ask a question in the research panel, and the next time you invoke the inline agent, it knows what you learn. And we're using Claude MD here, so this also like works across it. So, but when you use an inline agent, you're much more aware of the code changes you make. So the idea is that you're also more conscious about what patterns and conventions and things you want to have for the specific file you're working in, which is typically part of a folder. And that folder represents like a part of your application or a domain of your application, which means that you are much more encouraged to like create the Claude MD file or update it as you actually make code changes and see that Claude is not doing what you want it to do. So basically the only interactions you have is Command I and Command Shift I, and this just explains how setting it up. So I thought maybe we could kind of look at the CodeSpark project and just play around with this. Hi, morning Adam. How's your weekend? Are the kids behaving? So what we can try to do here is, you'll have to excuse my persona being in front of the prompt. Yeah, I think we'll do fine. So what is this project about? And the nice thing here is, like, previously I tried to use I was building up my own research agent, and it's just a shit ton of work. Well, Claude Code is amazing at doing research, and you want to have that research of like partially the code and partially the web. So as you can see here, it just explains things, and what I'm kind of excited about is how, like, with the experience of using this research agent, is how it can like make that research much better. Because I think there's many things you can do to help learning and understanding things, and also planning out things. But in this context, like if you think about Claude Code CLI, when you go into plan mode there, it's not about you building your own context, it's about building context for Claude Code. So it's like very verbose. And I think there's a better way to do that for when the target is an actual human being or an engineer. So yeah, anyways. So I should be able to like click these files. This is like, I'm not saying like the whole experience is completely novel. This is what you would expect from any IDE agent, I guess. Cool. And yeah, what I thought we could try. Yeah, so just for fun, how do I install dependencies? Just to kind of show you how this works. So in the markdown, it's going to allow it to, it's basically just markdown code blocks, but it understands it. So I can click, do you see that? The play button there? And again, like, this is about you actually doing the thing. So by me, like, so just to be very detailed about how we learn, if I actually went to the terminal and wrote npm install and hit enter, that would be the best way to learn how to install dependencies in this project. in my brain, right? But clicking the button, that's like still good, because I'm not just like skimming over a lot of text that Claude Code was doing, including an npm install, but I'm actively focusing on it and clicking something. And it might seem silly, but I think it's really important. Lazy sounds good. Yeah, I'm kind of pumped here today. I think it's kind of the first sunny day of spring. Well, that's not true, really. And it's actually really cold outside. But it was a good chance to ask the neighbors to have a couple of beers on the porch later today, which is going to be nice. Looking forward to that. Okay, cool. So what I was thinking is, yeah, let's try something. I'm gonna create a new. So what I did now is I hit Shift Command I again to do research, and you can see now it has the IPC server file as context, but I could also like select something and do the same, and then it has the actual selection as context. So, but if I do this, explain to me what this file does. I haven't prepared anything, and I don't have any like specific work I need to do, so everything becomes quite artificial. Oh, does it actually rain in Australia? Is that like crazy rain? Or do you have like partial rain? Like here in Norway. We can have like weeks of just cloudy skies and tiny bits of rain. Just perfect weather for a depression. This file implements a Unix domain socket. Yeah, so what I thought could be interesting here is to understand how the thing actually works. So one important thing, because I wouldn't say proud, but I think it's clever how it works. Because when I open up the inline agent, it's actually connecting. Well, first of all, it opens up Claude CLI, waiting for input. So it's like it optimizes a lot of stuff. And then it also has an actual MCP server. So when you make changes to a file, those changes are made inside the file, inside VS Code, which then hooks into like a normal edit, which makes undo. It comes up as a dirty change in VS Code. It's like as if you wrote the code, right? Which is important. But if it goes outside and creates files or make changes to other files, those are actually made on the file system, as if it was someone else who kind of did it, which is true. So that's interesting. But maybe we could try to improve something here. Validate all edits and compute ranges. Okay, so for example, we can ask it to make this so this is what I've been using it for. Is I'm actually reading the code, and then whenever I see, it's more about the aesthetics of the code for me, how I think things should be separated, and just improving the readability of the code. But through that process, I'm also learning about the changes that were actually made and how the code actually works. Make this a utility function. And I'm like, I think, oh fuck, didn't it work? Oh, what did, I just released this. Oh my god. Oh, could you clarify? Interesting. Oh, I haven't met this issue yet. Let us try doing this instead. Yeah, because I did implement, because sometimes it's confused. Right, that happens all the time. But if you have an inline agent and you're asking for a change, you want that change to be applied, regardless. Like there is no like interaction back and forth on doing it. Make this a utility function. So I haven't really tested this version. So what I publish now is like how the architecture should be. So I still need to optimize the actual. There we go. Yeah, so about yeah, proper rain is awesome. That's perfectly fine. Let's see. I'm just gonna adjust. There we go. Yeah, indicating last change. So what I rely on is actually Git. So you can see here, like you have Git indication. So because originally I had custom change indications, but it kind of conflicted or just re-emphasized Git changes. So which is kind of bad if you don't have Git, then you don't really know. But yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a good point. And also, if the edits are like multiple places in the file, it's not that obvious what changed. But again, I've been leaning on Git because that gives you that indication. But it's not always obvious. And I think it's a tricky problem because especially now, I was like focusing on that thing and it moved somewhere else, right? And I had to go and find it again. So it's a very disruptive experience when you use an agent to refactor like this, as opposed to if I were just to like cut out the code and do it myself, I would still kind of be in the flow. Yeah, I think this is because the whole point of this extension is to keep you in the flow, as if you did it yourself, but using natural language instead of like doing every key press. But this moving of stuff around in a file, one thing is adding something, right? Because then you're still in, like you're still at the cursor pointer where you made the edit, but now we're kind of, yeah, as I said, moving stuff around. So one thing that could be done is like when those edits are applied, it would go to the top of the new code, right? Maybe you can write that down somewhere. Yeah, I'm gonna write it down here. So at least you go to where, but then again, like your context might be a deletion, but at the same time, yeah, because what you get is actual edits, like literally VS Code edits, and those have a position in the file. So you could at least go to an edit. Or you could even, yeah, that's interesting, because these edits might be powerful. Like you could, one thing is just going to the first one in the file. Another one is like you could actually like click through the edits, the actual edits. But yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna write it down. When applying edits, move to first one or allow navigating them. Because I kind of want to have this experience where you trust the agent to do the right thing, which is what's so cool about AI. But the scope is very, very small, right? So it's very low risk to make mistakes. So I don't want to create this like review flow. It's YOLO mode, right? You just say what you want and it does it. But yeah, it is disrupted. That's suddenly the thing you pointed out isn't there anymore. Anyways, so we're computing text edits. We are giving an error. How do these actually work? Oh yeah, it's just checking the strings. Yeah, because this is how Claude Code makes edits. It does basically a replace string. Apply all edits atomically, which is great. And then apply edit, that's async. This brings me back to Code Sandbox, where we try to integrate our collaboration, our operational transforms collaboration, with an async apply edit, with a protocol that's built for synchronous edits. That was fun. So let's handle edit request. Where does that go to references? Right. Yeah, and then we have listener. So what happens here is that what's also important with an inline edit is that it makes one edit, because Claude Code is gonna take another turn, right? It applies the edit, and then it's gonna take another turn to kind of give you a summary of what it did. And we don't wanna wait for that. We want, like, deterministically one single edit of the file. And Claude Code's edit tool also has a single edit, so it calls the tool multiple times. The point being that this loading indication, this scanning thing, which is really awesome, by the way. Where was I? Yeah, so what we want is to apply those edits, and immediately when those edits are actually applied to VS Code, because you kind of see it, you want the loading indication to stop. If it stops after the last turn to the LLM, it's gonna feel weird. It's gonna feel off. So that's what's happening here. It makes the write, and immediately it calls a listener, which then stops the pending. So this was an interesting, like, experience challenge, which actually required, like, an inline MCP server to handle the communication between the Claude process and VS Code. But yeah, I guess this is fine. Process complete JSON lines. Yeah, so I don't like these kinds of things. Yeah, let's see what it does now. Please move the handler to its own function. Yeah, it kind of jumped again. Oh yeah, we need a shared buffer here. Oh, interesting. Yeah, but that's fine. Cool. Yeah, I think that jumping thing is something we can make more obvious. I wonder even if, like, since the update tool is a custom tool, right? We could also let the LLM decide where to put the focus on the edit. Like, where does it make most sense for the user to focus now based on the edit? That would be really cool. Maybe give MCP tool an additional property to decide where to focus. That would be really cool. Yeah, we should try that. Yeah, and we could even try it now. Yeah, maybe we can do that. Sorry, let me... I'm gonna make this. Hello, sir. My name does not matter, but as young dev, I am struggling so much with the right software. I prefer Olama. I dislike open software being so locked down. All AI, all keys, all AIs and programs. And people need to make more open software. As students like. Yeah, it's, you know what? this is a big tension I have. I alluded to it in the beginning of the stream. This, like, how like Anthropic and OpenAI is moving so incredibly fast and making these like they are a few months ahead. And as an engineer, it was a good question though, Adam. I'll answer it. But like, as an engineer, I want to be on the edge. Like, I love this space, AI space, agentic space, figuring out how to use them for my own work. But open source is behind. One thing is, maybe not the models necessarily is that far behind, but the infrastructure to run coding agents is far behind. Anthropic is like really leading in the space of just building the infra to deal with the insane amount of inference that needs to happen for these AI agents or coding agents to work. So I had like one round of CodeSpark trying Olama, running a local agent on like a MacBook Air M4, which is even like an expensive computer. And it's like, it's just way too slow. I really, really hope like Google and the open source community actually gets on par with what Anthropic and OpenAI and the big providers can deliver. But currently it's just such a high threshold to use this, and it won't be at the level of of what the other providers can deliver. So I had like a moment of trying to decide the purpose of this project. Like, should I push for it to be open? You can choose provider, and all of this. I should use an open source harness like PyDev, and yeah, I could do that, and should do that from like my core values. But I know it wouldn't have any adoption at all. It wouldn't, like, because my main point of this project isn't the extension in and of itself. It's how you work with an agent. That's the message. Because I think it's wrong that we step away from our projects and don't learn anything when we make changes to them. So that's the main message. And I think that message comes across more powerfully if it's a extension that supports Claude Code. It just has a higher chance of like adoptability, or at least like reaching through to some extent. But if it's like 10 different providers, you need a lot of configuration to even get it started, and it doesn't work that well, then yeah, it's hard to get the message out. I think that's what's changed with me doing open source. It's not about adoption anymore. It's about getting a message through. Kind of like with Rask UI as well. Like, I know it's just a fool's errand to try to create adoptability for a new UI framework. But it's the message of the framework. All the struggles we've gone through trying to do state management and UI management, and different techniques and the cost and benefit of each. And it's just my message of how I think it should work, not because I think it would revolutionize or create adoption or anything like that. Anyways, that was a long answer. Yeah, this looks pretty nice. I wish I had something more prepared and set up, but we can continue to look through it. So this is the MCP server. Yeah. We were gonna try to actually implement the thing. Okay, so let's try to ask about this. So we have an MCP server that is used by the inline agent to make changes to the current file using VS Code. I would love for the LLM to be able to not only add the edits, but also emphasize which edit should be focused, because currently the user has a bit of a disruptive experience when their pointer suddenly points to something that was moved or whatever. Yeah, so another thing was when I was using a custom harness for the research, it just felt like the research wasn't as good as when I use Claude Code CLI. So if I'm gonna adopt this and actually use it and continue exploring, it just has to be Claude Code. So the idea is to let the LLM mark one edit as the primary one. So after all edits are applied, the editor scrolls to, oh, that's nice. Just, yeah, I was thinking more like having an additional property, but just adding that property to the actual edit makes a lot of sense. Add focus to the edit schema. Update the tool description. Pass focus through and return the focus range. Okay, we can look at the first one. So this is kind of, and this is the thing is, I've also tried like using this for something I already have a lot of experience with, which is very comfortable because I can mostly like use the inline agent and just make things happen, and I feel like a lot of momentum. But now I'm doing things I don't really know how to do. So it, hi there. So if you go to, there's a link in the description. So I'm building a Claude Code experience inside VS Code that changes your perspective on using Claude Code, because Claude Code is very much in control from a project level. Like you're always prompting from a project level, and you lose a lot of decision making and having like your own learning and understanding of the code that's being written, and you're just reading a lot, not doing much. So this is a way to show a different kind of experience that I need to have as an engineer working in a team. I want to use Claude Code, but I can't use it at the project level because I don't learn anything, and my colleagues are upset with me because I generate AI slop, right? So I need an experience where I actually make the changes, but I want the power of Claude Code to help me learn and not having to write so much code. So we need to add focus to the edit schema. So where is the edit schema? Here's the edit schema. Okay, so let's add focus, C boolean, optional. You know what? I don't care that much about it. I understand what we're doing here. Cool. Update the tool description. Yeah, can I? Oh, we didn't use the 92, 105. Yeah, each edit replaces. Yeah, and then I think we should actually, yeah, so it didn't actually put that in here, but I think we should do that. If any, mark one edit with focus true. Focus true. And I think we should, oh wait, sorry. Old string. Yeah, exactly. So this is like, yeah, AB, and then it did an import, right? We don't want to focus on the import. We want to focus on the thing that you actually changed. So that makes most sense. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for shouting. I'm trying a new stream setup. So I'm having like my comments on the other screen. That's why you see me like looking away. So I'm not as attentive. I'm trying to figure that out. So then we have our RPC server, which is basically our MCP server that needs to pass focus through. So we have this array here where we need to have focus. Oh, sorry, that's a Boolean, I guess. And then the interface for the edit response. Yeah, that needs to have, oh, interesting. So this is the focus range for VS Code. So I hope, like, just what I'm doing now, it's much slower than if I just told Claude to fix it, right? But as I hope I'm kind of getting through is how I'm building my context, right? I'm adding more context to my brain. I'm learning a little bit. And by actually having to write or at least copy things individually, just that process is what I talked about, is like increasing my weights on what I'm learning. Because if I were just to read it after Claude had done it, I would just skim through it like crazy. And I would barely like reach my brain. But now it's like properly embedded in my brain. Of course, like all programming, you forget the specifics, but you build up an intuition of where to look for things. And if something goes wrong, you build up an intuition of where things might have gone wrong, what it's related to, right? And again, in the future, maybe we don't care about any of this. And we just let the agents do things. Nobody are engineers anymore. We just have a bunch of product level people managing agents and just building things. But yeah, I don't know. It might not happen. We might discover that that's a bad idea. That we actually want engineers that owns the code. Okay, so handle edit request. Handle edit request. Oh, interesting. Find which edit was marked focus true, and after applying, calculate the post-edit position of the focus new string. Find the focused edit index, and after apply edit. Okay, so this is kind of... Is this the edit response? Yeah, this is the edit response. Okay. And then edit listener extend to pass the focus range. Oh, so this is the... Oh, this is the listener. Okay. So that should receive, of course, the... So what I can do here is... I can also, since the inline agent has the research context, I can say add the focus range calculation as a utility. Oh, I have my thingy in the way here. Utility function, and call it here. So we can pass it to the wait, we're just gonna add it. What's happening? Why is it? Oh, I see. That's a bug. Every time I start the prompt, it saves the file. Stop saving the file when activating the prompt. That was because of the previous version. It actually used the file system on the current file, which is a bad idea to make edits there. You have to do it in VS Code, or you kind of fucked. Add focus range calculation here. Clear here as a utility. calculate focus range. I guess I could have just copy pasted that one, but yeah, I wanted to see the scanner. So where were we? We were here, and now we want to focus range. Calculate focus range. Oh, how do we pass that in? Oh, do we? Sorry, it wanted to actually calculate it as part of. Okay, that's fine. So we need to pass the focus range. I'm gonna copy that as well. And it's kind of funny, like how we said like copy paste from Stack Overflow is really what programming is. And it is the same idea. Like, it's been very efficient, right? Imagine the productivity gain Stack Overflow gave us. And we're kind of doing the same, but we're generating what we need to do specifically for what we're doing, right? Instead of going on the web and searching, and we're just generating it. But it's the same kind of flow. And I think it's lost on people how important that process is for your own sake. Oh yeah, now I see what it wanted to do. So when we actually go and handle the edit request, this is where it wants to return focus range. What do we say? Calculate focus range. So we're gonna pass the, do we have the doc here? Yeah, we have the doc. And what else did it need? It needed the edits. Text edits? No. What does it need? What did it need? What did it need? Let's see. Where was it? Compute text edits. Edits array of. Yeah, it's the actual stuff that comes out of the thingy. Oh, rec.edit, sorry. Cool, so now we have the focus range. So when we, where's the handler? Where's the thingy we were working on? Handle edit request. Okay, so now on the response here, we actually have focus range. Nice. And then we update that. The cleanest approach is option A. Yeah, this was clean. Did we do it now? But what about the listener? I don't think the listener... Oh, yeah, this is... sorry. Handle connection data. Go to reference. Start. Where do we actually add the listener? Edit listener. New set. Edit listener. Oh, we're passing in all the listeners. Where are these coming from? Oh, on edit. There we go. Here we have the actual edits. And this actually receives some stuff. This receives some stuff now. What does it receive? Yeah, it receives file path, edit count, and focus range. Okay, go back. Can I click this? Yeah. What was it? I can't remember. Blah, blah, focus range. Oh, doesn't it? Oh yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, sorry. We can even, oh, that's also a bug. Fix the copy button. when horizontally scrolling. Yeah, I'm not sure what should happen. Well, I guess it should stick. Yeah, it should just stick to the right, of course. Anyways, it's let's call it file path and count. Okay, and then it says if we have a focus range, we're gonna apply that focus. I think that makes sense. Let's see if we can actually run this. Okay, let's open development test project. Okay, we're just gonna test this and see if it works, and then I'm gonna stop the stream. But oh, what's happening here? Why didn't it start? Oh, my shortcut isn't even working. What the hell? I haven't tried. This is a new machine, or not a new machine, but a new setup. So I haven't really configured my environment properly here. Run extension. There we go, CodeSpark. That's weird. Okay, so let's try move this section to the top. Oh, it did. Oh, where'd it go? Oh wait, it made edits. Why didn't it use the? Why did it use tool edit? It shouldn't do that. Must be something wrong with our instructions. Yeah, that's the most difficult thing when you create like custom. Well, when you create like a guided experience with agents, there's some level of determinism to that, and LLMs are inherently undeterministic. So, for example, enforcing this edit tool to run for the current file can be really tricky. Yeah, like you can do things like, yeah, I'm a little bit curious how we're gonna do that. It might be that we actually just need our own edit tool, and then if the edit isn't part of our current file, then we're just gonna do a file system edit. Or maybe we should just use VS Code for all edits. That's also fine. That gives us more control. Like we can open up the file that it decided to make an edit on. Maybe that's actually better. But let's try again to see if we can actually make it. Move this to the top of the file. Probably uses. Did it do an edit again? Where's the tool call? No, it didn't use the other thing. Interesting. Common pitfalls. Okay, so it didn't work. Let's see if we actually. How do we log? How do we log to the extension output? Yeah, it's log append line. So I want to know if let's see. Oh, wait a minute. How did it look like? Edit appended. And then I guess we can say Yeah, it's just a string. Let's just do JSON string of 5 focus range. I don't hope my music is too loud. It's happened a couple of times when... Oh. Yeah, whatever. Can move something else to the top. Move this to the top. Oh, now it used edit. Dag nagget. Let me try to be explicit. Move this to the top using the MCP edit tool. What happened now? Oh, it's undefined. Interesting. And where the hell did it go? Oh, this is not working. I think we should always append a focus. Maybe that's the reason. Where do we have this MCP? Where do we have these instructions? Didn't we put it in the MCP server? Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, let's look at the actual output. Apply length. JSON. Well, let's look at the actual rec edits. JSON stringify rec edits. Move this to the top using MCP edit tool. Yeah, I'm gonna make a note that use MCP edit tool for everything. Okay, let's see. Where is the actual... Oh, old string not found. Interesting. Why does it... Oh, there's an issue here. Oh, it's duplicate. Anyways, here it is. Old string. Yeah, but there's no focus. Yeah. Well, it is what it is. This is agent and context engineering. We need to... So there's two things we can do. We can try to prompt engineer the hell out of this, but it's not going to be deterministic no matter what we do. We can make focus not optional. We could try that first. It's a little bit weird that you can only have one thing to focus, but it makes it more deterministic. This is going to guarantee that we at least get the Boolean. So we can try that. And then we need to change our interface focus range. So we'll always have a focus range now. Oh, interesting. Okay, maybe not. And then for handle edit requests, yeah, let's see now. I wonder, there seems to be a bug here though, because the initial edit didn't actually work. So it's almost like it's not getting move this section to the top. Wow, it took a long time. Why did it take so much time? So I think I'm logging the pre-warm session prep 6 milliseconds. System init. Oh, it's using edit again. Wow, it took almost 6 seconds to run tool use edit. And almost... Yeah, anyways, I want you to use the section to the top using MCP edit. Applied. Focus true. Okay, so now we actually have a focus. Edit confirm, edit appended. Okay. So it's gonna do... That's weird. Start line 45. Oh. That's super weird. And it should append the focus after the fact. Let's see. Handle edit request, handle connection, calculate focus range. Yeah, and we're doing on the edits. Okay, I'm gonna ask it. Is it not better that we calculate the focus? We should calculate where to focus based on the actual changed content. So like follow the edit to where the new content now appears. It seems to be using... Well, it didn't even use the old position. Well, it did. It did. It seems to be using the old position of the code. Because, of course, we added to the top, so it pushed it down. Oh, is there a bug? I haven't tried this. Or I actually think Claude... Are Americans waking up? Because things are slow on the Anthropic side at the moment. This might be a bug. I haven't tested inlining research after, like in an existing research. Let's see if we can find... Oh, no, it's just really slow. Interesting. The current calculate does an index of new string on the updated doc, which has 2 problems. Yeah, I I agree, but like this isn't the first time human labor is replaced by machines. Like it's happened several times in history. It's just that we are experiencing this part of history. Um, so we feel a lot of ownership in how things are now, and we're afraid, right? We don't want machines to replace anything that we do. But as I said, this has happened multiple times in history. So it's gonna happen. That's for sure. The question is just when it happens. But I think the biggest issue is like what's left of human experience if we don't like. I think the most fundamental thing you can discuss is scarcity. Like our brains is wired for scarcity. That's all the chemicals in our body that creates our emotions is about scarcity, survival. And the AI people, they're talking about a world of abundance where you don't need to do anything. You can choose what you want to do. But abundance is the complete opposite of scarcity. So it means that we're going to get a world that our brains are not tuned to at all, which can result in like complete bliss and happiness. Like people talk about going to heaven after they die. I would imagine they don't want to, that's kind of a vision of abundance, right? But again, our brains aren't wired for that at all. Maybe we'll adjust. Maybe everybody becomes depressed because there's nothing to do anymore. I don't know. But the fact that coding at the abstraction level that we're doing coding now is going to be replaced, that's for sure. Like even scope it down to programming as a profession. Like the initial programming was at very, very low level, and we bumped up the abstraction level multiple times. Like nobody's writing using cards anymore to do programming or writes binary code, or like a lot of people aren't even like writing C++ anymore, managing memory and all of that. We're abstracting it so we can express our intents much faster. And AI is, you can say that AI is just another abstraction over coding. But yeah. Let's see. What were we doing? Oh, it can match the wrong occurrence. If new string, it's fragile, being updated after apply. More robust compute the position mathematically from the original edit offsets. We already know exactly where each edit lands in the original text, and we can compute the shift caused by preceding edits. Oh, this is... okay, so we need... okay, the original. Okay, cool. I think I'm just gonna... oh, that's another bug. We should make them sticky. Let's see. And make it sticky, so when you scroll, you can still edit. Sorry, still copy. Cool. Let's calculate for... there it is. Sorry. So this is like super, super complex. I don't really care about the implementation details here. And then we need to pass... do we have the text? Cool. Okay. Let's try this one. And again, like this implementation would have been done like half an hour, like 2 minutes after we started this using Claude Code. But again, I wouldn't understand anything about how it would be wired, and so on and so on. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna do this. use MCP edit to move this to the top. So yeah, I think what I'm gonna do after the stream, when I get a chance to work on the project, is I'm gonna remove edit and write, and we're gonna use MCP edit for everything, and we're gonna use VS Code to do any code changes. It just gives us much more insight, or a hook into the editing, so we can like open files that aren't open, that's been edited and stuff like that. Oh, look at that. We got to the top. There was no indication though, and that's because, yeah, as I said, this is not a Git project, so there's no Git indication. So that could also be a thing. It's like if you don't have Git, it should wield its own edit indication. Or what we could also do, oh, that's interesting. We could also, since it's fading out when it's working, oh, that would be really cool. Oh, we're gonna do that. So imagine this, like when I'm editing, it fades out and you see it scanning. So when it's done, we can actually keep it faded out, but we fade in the things that actually changed, right? That would be really cool. And that would work also with Git and stuff. And when you save, then it fades everything in. Maybe that would be cool. I could try it. Maybe keep things faded in except what was edited. Then fade everything in when saving. Yeah, we can try it. But anyways, it worked. Look at that. We spent probably 20 times as much time making it work, but we learned a few things along the way. Was it worth it? I don't know. I don't know. But it makes me feel better about being me, being an engineer. And if we touch this logic again, let's see if I have some more intuition on how we should solve things. Okay, cool. I have to jump out, but this was fun. I'm gonna keep doing these streams, I think. For me, this is a completely new tool. I don't know exactly how I want to use it, but this was a good session, I think. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, and maybe I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.